February 1st. Give them until February 1st.
Good morning, everyone. We have a large group today, and I wish I could say there's some good-looking people in the crowd, but just kidding. A little humor. January 25th Delaware County Board meeting is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning. I'm Gary Merrill, President of the Board. To my left is fellow Commissioner Jeff Benton, and Commissioner Barb Lewis is not with us today. Sarah DeNova started today, and our Administrator Mike Cromer. With that, let's begin.
Resolution number 18-73, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held January 22nd, 2018.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-73. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment this morning. Next on our agenda is the retirement of Chief Jeff Wilson.
Okay. I have a resolution here I'm going to read in a second that we've already approved this, correct? The resolution has not been approved?
It's just a tribute.
Okay, tribute, okay. Is there, I'm going to open it up. I have some comments I'm going to make, and I assume Commissioner Benton will as well. And I have a written comment from Commissioner Lewis. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment regarding Chief Wilson? I understand Chief Wilson it's being streamed, our meetings are streamed, and it's my understanding he is listening to it. So does anyone want to make a comment? I'll tell you what, let me read the resolution, and then we'll open up for comments.
Everybody's shy all of a sudden.
Okay. First of all, I'll go ahead and comment. I've had the opportunity through the 911 board to work with a lot of really good people that really care a lot about this county and the safety in our county. And Chief Wilson has been one of the leaders that I have grown to respect and admire during that whole process. He was very, very involved when we had some questions and concerns regarding 911. I know he spoke on behalf of it at the state legislature and some of the committee meetings, and just a great representative for our county. With that, I'm going to read the tribute and the proclamation. And whereas, on the occasion of Chief Jeff Wilson's retirement from his long and distinguished career in fire prevention and public safety, we, the members of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, wish to express our gratitude and appreciation to Chief Wilson. And whereas, we honor Chief Wilson's 30 years of service to the residents of the Berkshire, Sunbury, Trenton, and Galena fire districts in Delaware County, and for his support of the county's National Telecommunication Week. And whereas, we especially wish to highlight Chief Wilson's selfless work on behalf of all Delaware County residents. He has not only served on the county's 911 Board of Directors and as the board's president, but Chief Wilson's efforts were pivotal in convincing Ohio state legislatures to pass House Bill 277 in 2016, which eliminated the double taxation that threatened passage of the county's 911 levy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio, does hereby express its sincere gratitude to Chief Wilson and honors him as an outstanding public servant whose work has permanently and positively impacted the lives of our county residents. And this I will be privileged to present to him next week at an event that's having in his behalf. With that, I'm going to ask Commissioner Benton if he has anything he would like to add.
Yeah, I mean, that tribute says it very well. I didn't get the chance to work with Chief Wilson a whole lot, but did enjoy those moments I did, and he's a dedicated public servant and done a great job. And I did work with him on the 911 levy. Found him to be very thoughtful and very interested in it. One thing I did hear is that I think it was Farzan that said he looked like Tony Soprano, which I'm not sure I saw that. I'd have to get real glassy-eyed to see that. But anyway, did not see that, but I just thought I'd say thanks, Tony. And but again, we wish him the best.
Well, Commissioner Lewis couldn't be here today, so I had our clerk contact her yesterday, and she has a comment she would like me to share. I would like to recognize and thank Chief Wilson for his leadership and dedication to both 911 and as chief of BT S&G. Also, to wish he and his family the best in his retirement. And Commissioner Lewis regrets she can be here today, but it was unavoidable. With that, if there's anyone in the audience who would like to comment, again, Chief Wilson, it's my understanding that you are listening to this being streamed, and we all wish you well. Does anyone like to comment? Patrick?
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Brandt, the 911 Director. I just wanted to echo the comments of the retirement tribute you read for him. It was pivotal of what Chief Wilson did for us during the House bill, as he was the elected president of the 911 Board at the time, and kind of all the 911 Board members. Not that anyone's less important than any others, but the amount of work that he and I shared down at the State House of working with all the state representatives and such was very pivotal in getting that approved down there. So I want to thank him for that and all the time that he's provided and helped the 911 Center.
And I had the privilege of being in the room when he made his presentation. He was eloquent on behalf of our county and very persuasive.
Exactly. Thank you.
Any other comments?
John Donahue, President of the Delaware County Fire Chiefs Association, and I'd like to thank you for the proclamation, but congratulate Chief Wilson. We will also be making a presentation next week at his retirement party as well, but thank you.
Thank you. Any others? There's a lot of great people who do great things for our county, and it's not often we get to recognize that, and this is, to me, a very special day. Having personally become acquainted with Chief Wilson. So, Chief, if you can hear us, and I trust you can, we appreciate all you've done, and look forward to seeing you next week at the event in your behalf. So, with that, I guess we'll move on.
Resolution number 18-74, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants and batch numbers CMA PR 0124, number transfers and batch numbers MTA PR 0124.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-74. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-75, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-75. Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-76, setting time, date, and place for the final hearings by the Commissioners for the Wedgewood Subdivision Section 2, 3, 3A, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 8 Drainage Maintenance Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
A second, discussion. You're turning your head, aren't you?
Yeah,
Most people count in order, but some people count differently.
I'm special.
Vote.
Vote on motion 18-76. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-77, a resolution to proceed with the submission of the question of levying a renewal of an existing tax with an increase in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing senior citizen services.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Horrocks for SourcePoint. I don't have anything to say this morning. I just wanted to be here as a resource if you had any questions.
Appreciate you being here. I have no questions, Commissioner Bitton.
Yeah, no, I don't either. We had our very good discussion on Monday, and this is the second step in that process of putting it on the ballot, so no further questions.
All right. With that, vote.
Vote on motion 18-77. Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-78, in the matter of approving the contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, and Forensic Fluids Laboratories Incorporated for the purchase of drug screening laboratory services.
So moved.
Second.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Dombrowski with Job and Family Services. So this contract is for oral drug swab screening, primarily used in children's services. We did release 3 quotes. We did pull 3 quotes. While they were not the lowest bidder, the difference between the lowest bidder and this particular provider was only $569. The selected vendor can turn around the drug swabs within 24 hours. The second vendor was not able to do so. And the lowest cost bidder actually would charge us for in-person testimony at the rate of $150 per hour with an 8-hour minimum if they showed up. And so that offset the $560 difference. And so we recommend approval of this contract.
Questions? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-78. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Resolution number 18-79, resolution of necessity for purchase or lease of automobiles for the use of the county commissioners, any county department, board, commission, office, or agency, or any elected official comment or his or her employees.
So moved. Second. Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Taglione with Adult Court Services. I'm here today respectfully requesting that approval be made for a purchase of a new vehicle for Adult Court Services. We currently do have 5 vehicles. 2 of them are SUVs, and 3 of them are retired Crown Victorias from the Sheriff's Office. One of them is a 2004 with 168,000 miles. Due to our increased caseload and the various responsibilities we have in transporting defendants in custody, we're requesting that approval be made for another vehicle.
Just questions, comments?
No, it was budgeted, and understand the need. Those older vehicles are pretty unreliable, and that's not good. So.
Although we appreciate the use of the county vehicles, it's just for safety and the distance involved and responsibility that we have when we're transporting inmates. Therefore, we're requesting.
The only comment I have is we're in the process of looking about a fleet arrangement, and the question I had was whether these vehicles would likely be included in that. I was told they probably would not, so with that I would support it. If that had not been the case, I might have suggested we wait to get the result of that, but with that I can support it. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-79. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-80, in the matter of approving a contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas, and ImageSoft Incorporated to implement AI Smart Bench, a decision support system for Delaware County judges and magistrates.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Kristen Schultz. I'm the Court Administrator for the General Division of the Common Pleas Court. Robert Yeptango is here from the Prosecutor's Office. We also have Katie Steinman here, as she's Court Administrator for Juvenile Probate Division of the Court. So we are asking you today to approve the Smart Bench contract. This is for the entire Common Pleas Court, so all divisions of the Common Pleas Court. This is a new software program that will provide essentially a dashboard, an electronic dashboard for the judges that pulls in a variety of sources of information. And that includes our case public docket information is one source. It also can include private notes, research that the judge has done or his staff has done. It can include statewide or local databases such as Jail Tracker for the Sheriff's Office. It also has the ability to store confidential information, which right now, at least for the General Division on criminal files, are confidential mental health assessments we have in a physical file sitting in the office. So there's nothing that brings all of those pieces together. So that's what we're seeking here today. I'd be happy to explain. That's just a brief overview of the program. I'm happy to answer questions about it. I know, Commissioner Benton, I wanted to follow up on a couple of questions that you had. The Mentis on-base relationship. So I'm told from the IT department that the Smart Bench is created by Mentis Technology, and that is new to the county. However, ImageSoft is our on-base reseller, and ImageSoft has partnered with Mentis to sell this product, the Smart Bench product. We have utilized that on-base system since 2013, and our relationship with ImageSoft was recently established about a year ago. And you also had a question about ongoing costs, and I want to supplement that a little bit as well. So there'd be a maintenance cost to that. So that would be a current number of license. Each judge has a license, and there are some magistrates. Not all magistrates has a license under this contract, but So that would be $8,856 annually. If we were to add additional magistrate's license, that would be an additional software licensing cost of $1,950 for each license, and then an annual maintenance cost of $390. It's a little more if we were to ever have additional judgeships. It would be $7,650 for a license, and then an annual maintenance increase of $1,530. Now, under the contract, that can increase after the second year, the maintenance cost. I asked historically from the vendor, has this increased in the past? And it has not since 2000, since they've been in business, apparently, they have not increased that maintenance cost.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You filled me in yesterday on the answering those questions I had, so sounds good to me.
Are there other counties in the state that are using the software?
We would be the first in the state to utilize this software. We're getting a first in-state discount by doing that. So, yeah, I had reached out. The judges have been looking at this probably over a year now, this product, so it's been well thought out, and I had reached out to other states and talked with the judges in those states about how they liked the product, and we've got great feedback. And it's really intuitive and easy to utilize from the bench, which serving as a magistrate, I feel I'm very technical capable, but our court view system, that's our case management system, is just not practical to utilize from the bench. That program is really designed for clerks' offices, judicial staff. It's more of an administrative function, but sitting on the bench, you really need something that's easily accessible, that can pull all that information in. And so, yeah, we would be kind of the leaders in the state in moving
And the
this
judges
way.
and magistrates are committed to using the software?
They are, yeah. Yes, very much so. It's really been the judges that have pushed to get this implemented. I think Judge Krieger first came across the product and then showed all the judges are very strongly on board with utilizing this product.
Speaking of Judge Krieger, he's not going to go for re-election. I assume the license would transfer to his replacement.
I believe so. I guess I hadn't asked that question directly, but it's not, I don't think the licenses are assigned by person. Yeah, it's just by number of judges.
Yeah, that's a reasonable question, and I don't think it'd be inappropriate to charge, but it's a question you may want to ask before you sign the contract.
Sure.
Yeah.
With that, vote.
Vote on motion 18-80. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thanks, Kristen.
Resolution number 18-81, in the matter of approving modification number 1 to the engineering services agreement with Schramm Architects Incorporated for the alterations to the Delaware County Jail at 844 U.S. Highway 42 North, Delaware, Ohio 43015.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Hey, good morning, John Melvin, Director of Facilities. We started this project over a year ago with Schramm Architects to incorporate the body scanner into the intake and booking, which has led to some further remodeling of that intake and booking. In the meantime, we've had an issue arise with the fire alarm panel out there. It's no longer supported, and we're having trouble getting parts. So we want to incorporate that into the scope of this project as well, to replace the fire alarm panel and the devices out there for the whole jail.
I'm assuming that's something that ultimately would be replaced anyway because...
Yeah, so we were looking at a separate project. We were trying to put it off as long as we could. We want to take this opportunity to incorporate it in, get it in a bid spec, and get it bid out competitively.
Other questions? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-81. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Item number 13 has been pulled from our agenda today. Item number 14, resolution number 18-82, in the matter of declaring the need for improvements to Cheshire Road and approving a professional services contract with Mead and Hunt for engineering services.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Good morning, Chris Bauserman, County Engineer. This resolution contemplates the resolution necessity for Cheshire Road, and the engineering is for the contract that includes Cheshire Road and Africa Road. This is a road widening project. It will widen the shoulders, have paved shoulders on this section of roadway, so it would be from Jaycox Road on Africa north to Cheshire, and then from Cheshire Road from Hope State to Africa Road. We've received funding commitments from the federal funds for 80% of this project through a program administered by our County Engineers Association, and we selected Mead and Hunt through the qualification-based selection process. That's dictated by the Higher Revised Code and negotiated this fee. So I'm recommending approval.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, exactly. So it's on Cheshire between South Old State and
Africa. And then Africa Road from Cheshire south to Jaycox Road.
Oh, it includes some on Africa
Yes.
Road.
So the reason the resolution of necessity is not here for the Africa Road portion is because your board already has declared the necessity on that portion of roadway through a different resolution. So
What's the timeline on this?
So we're looking at, starting the design, I think we're still a year and a half or so away, so construction will be 2020.
So it's not adding lanes.
No, but it is adding pavement with what we call safety shoulders, so it'd be paved
it is in the
shoulders. If you can picture there's a lot of bicycle recreational traffic in the area because of the reservoir and the recreation activities there. And then also a lot of people pulling trailers and boats through that area as well. And so we think this is a good candidate for this type of project.
And what do you expect the total cost to be?
Let's see, the total cost of the project is, on the Cheshire portion, is $1 million. Africa Road, $4 million.
Africa what?
$4 million on the Africa Road.
Yeah, that's a long ways.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-82. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-83, in the matter of authorizing the purchase of trucks and equipment for the county engineer's office.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
We're proposing to purchase 4 pickup trucks and a larger dump truck snowplow combination vehicle. All of these were provided for in our budget and discussed and presented at budget time. And I'd point out that our next resolution will be declaring obsolete some vehicles that these will replace. So be glad to answer any questions you have.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-83. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-84, in the matter of declaring county personal property obsolete, unfit, or not needed for public use.
So moved.
Second, discussion. You already commented. You have any additional comments?
Just expound that these are all vehicles that are 10 to 12 years old and have, the lowest one has 140,000. I think the highest one has 180,000 miles. So we've gotten good use out of these vehicles. It's time to replace them.
Do you have any idea of the value?
Of the remaining value of these are generally physically pretty well beat up vehicles just because of the type of construction work that's done, and so we haven't gotten a lot of value out of those. We have, in some cases, made them available, like to the fair board to use, or the townships maybe to use as backup vehicles and those kind of things. So we'll probably have some proposal for you on how to do that. But at this point, we need to first declare them obsolete, and they
So
are.
there are no Jaguars in this.
No, they're not. But if you'd like to come over and look at them, we'd be glad to send you home in one, Joe.
Any other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-84. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-85, in the matter of adopting a resolution declaring a necessity in the intent of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners to appropriate property.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
You'll recall that we have an active design project, planning project that is in partnership with Franklin County at the intersection of Smothers and Red Bank Road to improve that intersection with a roundabout. So we're splitting the cost of that project with Franklin County. We're also splitting a 50% share of that project through local or through federal and state safety funds. So we have two properties that we need additional right-of-way from that we've been unable to negotiate right-of-way for, and so I'm asking this resolution for us to proceed with appropriation on those properties.
Any questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-85. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-86, in the matter of approving a ditch maintenance petition and the ditch maintenance assessments for Genoa Baptist Church.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
The Genoa Baptist Church went through a fairly extensive parking lot expansion and renovation project to include drainage improvements. Those drainage improvements include drainage for land that's off-site that passes through upstream drainage, and so they've agreed to place those portions of their drainage system on the county maintenance program to protect that for all the properties in the watershed. So I'm recommending approval.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-86. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Resolution number 18-87, in the matter of approving an option to renew the contract between Everbridge Incorporated and the Delaware County Board of Commissioners countywide emergency notifications services.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Brandt with the 911 Center. Back over a year ago, we looked at various companies to do our emergency communication notification for the residents if something major happens. That included the weather alerting. The original contract on that was for 1 year, but it had an option to go for an additional 4. We're looking to extend it for another 26 months, is what we've asked for.
The same rate,
Yes.
so not an increase.
Same rate is maintained, yes.
Any other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-87. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Resolution number 18-88, resolution of necessity for purchase or lease of an automobile for the use of the county drainage maintenance program.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Soil and Water. This is a purchase of a pickup truck that was included in our budget request and is intended to meet the ever-growing needs of the drainage maintenance program.
I'm going to talk a little bit, just 30 seconds, about how much it has grown. And
I don't have those statistics in front of me, but the drainage maintenance program has experienced tremendous growth over the last 10 years. Currently, we sit at over 500 projects that we maintain. The infrastructure is quickly approaching $100 million in infrastructure that's maintained, and the resolution that the board passed setting the date and time for the Wedgwood drainage maintenance petition, if that petition is approved, that would kick us over the $100 million mark, just the value in that subdivision. So this is, it's a great program, and it's certainly been well received by our residents and our citizens. So.
any other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-88. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thanks,
The next
Beth.
thing on our item doesn't start for 2 more minutes.
We need 2 minutes, so I'm sure our administrator, Mr. Fulmer, can
Fill 2
use
minutes?
If not, we will.
I don't have anything. You guys go ahead and
Oh, you
fill.
put the pressure on us.
Yeah.
Commissioner Benton.
All right. Yeah, so Barb's gone, so you picked me first.
Well, I could take her, but I'd be kind of quiet.
Just a few things. We did go to DKMM yesterday, Commissioner Merrill and I, and Rumpke was there making actually a much better presentation and much more attractive financial proposal to the district than what we had been expecting. So we'll work forward on that, and that should help the district significantly going forward. Got a Columbus Board of Realtors Economic Forecast Luncheon today, which should be very interesting. The homes in Central Ohio are doing extremely well. 2017 was the best year in, I think, forever. And 2018 is off to a great start. So that is good news for all of Central Ohio. We have an event tonight at the BIA is having a dinner where our own Regional Sewer District Director, is that the right title? Yeah. Is being honored, and I want to congratulate Mike in this forum on his accomplishments and the recognition by the BIA of those accomplishments. We all know here how important sewer is, and our sewer department is AAA rated, literally, which was a huge accomplishment, and has put together a great plan and is executing very well on that plan. And Mike and his team have really earned the respect of the BIA and a lot of others as well. So it's great that Mike gets that honor tonight. So I think Commissioner Merrill, you're going as well.
I am.
Yeah, and I'll be there. And so again, congratulations to Mike and the team. Speaking of BIA, I'm meeting with John Melkai tomorrow. Have not met him yet. He's the new executive director of BIA, so I'll be anxious to meet him and learn more about what he's got going on there. There's an important legislative initiative that I thought was very interesting to mention. There's a couple State House legislators that have advanced a legislation. It's not signed into law yet, of course, but they proposed legislation that would put on the ballot to be voted on by the citizens of Ohio to make Ohio a right-to-work state and eliminate prevailing wage. So that'll be very interesting to see if that goes forward. I think it would be very healthy for us. Certainly the county could save millions and millions of dollars if we could put those two in place. But anyway, it's maybe we'll see it on the ballot this fall. Orange Township has accomplished a couple of very nice things in the last week or two. They did get a very significant trails grant to work on their trails program. I think it's North Park along North Road. So they've got a significant grant from the ODNR, I think it is, and that'll certainly help the trails. As we all know, trails are very important to the county, and there's a lot going on there. So it's good to see that they're getting some of their trail plans funded. Then they also have received a draft zoning plan that they commissioned Ohio State students to perform. And again, for economic development, having zoning, pre-zoning in place is a huge step forward for responsive zoning and economic development. So congratulations to Orange Township on making that big step forward to get their zoning in place ahead of time, because new companies moving to the area want zoning and they want site-ready sites. So they've taken a big step forward on that. But one last thing, I did have the honor of going to Congressman T-Berry's event last night. Commissioner Merrill was there, and I think there were 600 or 700 people there, and again, it's just a nice compliment to Pat that so many people attended, and it was emotional. He spent 17 plus years in Congress and did a great job of taking care of his constituents and helping people in so many different circumstances. And he will be missed. I mean, he'll still represent Ohio in the Business Roundtable, but it was a very nice event. So congratulations to Congressman T-Berry, and wish him the best in the next assignment. That's all I got. Sorry to be so long.
You took more than 2 minutes.
I know.
I have a couple of things I had written down. Pat T-Berry. Problem following Commissioner Benton, there's nothing left to talk about. I'm meeting with Mr. Melkai next week to get acquainted. Jim Hills did a great job for BIA, and I'm looking forward to meeting the new individual who I've never met to my knowledge, and so we'll begin the process of becoming acquainted with the new leader of the BIA. The DKM meeting, I thought the meeting with Rumpke went very well. Sometimes it has to do with the people that are involved, and the people are very much, I think, more attuned to working with DKM than what we had witnessed previously. I had written down Pat T-Berry. I thought that's one he might overlook, but he didn't. Pat's served our congressional district for 17 years, I believe it is, and I have had, back in 2002, when we adopted our son, we had an issue. I've never met Pat, didn't know who Pat was, other than he was our congressman, and we had an issue at the last minute, and his office, and indirectly Pat, came to the plate and took care of that event, which allowed Pablo to join us a couple weeks later. So I've always had good feelings because of that, and then Tim Hensley, who was our administrator till about 2.5 years ago, I believe, his granddaughter was adopted from, I believe, Haiti, and Pat's office played a role in that when there was a problem. So regardless of your party affiliation, Pat T-Berry has always been there to serve the constituents of this county, regardless of party affiliation. And personally, I will miss him. I think our congressional district will miss him. And last night was just an opportunity to say thank you, Pat, for 17 years of service. So I think we'd be remiss if we did not comment on that, and we'll move forward with whoever takes this place. With that, I believe we're ready to
We are.
move forward.
Resolution number 18-89, public hearing for consideration of the Clark Shaw Drainage Improvement Petition filed by Clark Shaw LLC and others.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-89. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-90, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3, State Registration, Rule 4, Limitations, and Rule 7, Public Comment Procedure from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-90. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay, before we begin, I'm going to some of you will not have been through one of these before, so I think it's always helpful just kind of review how a hearing works. And so this is the first hearing for the consideration of the Clark Shaw Drainage Improvement Petition. There is a sign-in sheet circulating the room, and we ask that you please sign in. Is it circulating?
Yes, it is.
What will happen, we're going to hear a report from the county engineer and the Soil and Water Conservation District, and that's always a very thorough report, and that will serve as our foundation for the remainder of our meeting. We'll then ask for questions from the board, and hearing from all those in favor of the petition will then follow, and then we'll hear from all those opposed to the petition, and you'll be asked to take a note if you come to the podium to speak. We'll continue back and forth if new information comes up or additional people wish to speak, and then we'll have questions from the board again. And then after listening to testimony and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to grant the prayer of the petition or dismiss the petition. The board considers the following in their decision: whether the board hereby finds that the proposed improvements is necessary, that it will be conducive to the public welfare. The board also finds that it's reasonably certain that the cost of the proposed improvements will be less than the benefit. If the board grants the prayer of the petition, the Delaware County engineer will proceed with preparation of plans, reports, and individual schedules of assessment for the project. When plans are complete, a final hearing will be set. Notification of the hearing will be given to landowners, and the board will consider the project in the second hearing. With that, I believe we're ready to begin. So.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. I will read the first hearing report into the record. First hearing report, Clark Shaw LLC Drainage Petition per ORC 6131, January 25th, 2018. This report has been prepared for the preliminary hearing on a drainage improvement petition filed by Clark Shaw LLC, Scioto Ridge Crossing LLC, and MI Homes of Central Ohio on August 8, 2017. The general location and course of the requested improvements is quoted from the petition as follows. Commencing at the southern property line of an original 57.078 acre parcel conveyed to Clark Shaw LLC in Official Record 1394, page 539. Then south across a 5.98 tract owned by Susan Massaro Jackson, parcel identification number 419-330-020-61000, to a point where an adequate and sufficient outlet is provided. The following is the nature of work petition as quoted from the petition: to generally improve the drainage subsurface to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, or altering the existing improvements as required and or creating new surface and or subsurface drainage mains or laterals as requested by this petition. Petition process. This petition has been submitted according to Section 6131 of the Ohio Revised Code, or ORC, which authorizes the Board of Commissioners to act on behalf of benefited property owners to make drainage improvements. If the Board of Commissioners decides to proceed with the project, the costs related to the improvements and the development of plans, reports, and schedules are assessed to the landowners in the watershed according to the benefit received to their watershed acreage. These special assessments will be added to the property taxes for each property and can be spread over a maximum of an 8-year period. Property owners may also choose to pay their assessment in a lump sum payment prior to placement on their property taxes. Additionally, the improvements will be placed on the Delaware County Drainage Maintenance Program in perpetuity per ORC Section 6137, and the annual maintenance assessment will appear on property tax statements as a special assessment in the same manner as the construction assessments. These annual maintenance assessments are generally in the range of 2 to 3% of the construction assessment. It should be noted that property owners are only assessed for those improvements that are located downstream from their properties. No property is assessed for improvements located upstream. The public agencies that own rights-of-way for public roads would also be assessed for both construction and maintenance costs in the same manner as private property owners. The decision to approve a petition project is a three-step process. First, a viewing of the proposed improvement is conducted for the commissioners to familiarize themselves with the watershed and general conditions. The commissioners conducted the viewing for this project on November 6, 2017. Next, a preliminary hearing is held to consider the initial feasibility of the proposal. It is this preliminary first hearing that is before us today. If this petition is approved, a final hearing will be conducted to further consider this petition. At that time, final details such as engineering plans and specifications, cost estimates, and a proposed schedule of assessments will be known. Existing conditions. The Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District and Delaware County Engineer's Office have made the following observations using on-site evaluation and a review of available aerial photography, topographic mapping, and soils mapping. The Clarkshaw LLC watershed, as defined for this hearing, measures 560 acres. The current land use in the watershed is predominantly rural residential with a smaller amount of agricultural use. A retention basin has been constructed at the southwest corner of the petitioner's property that is part of the stormwater design for the Clarkshaw Moores subdivision. This basin currently outlets to an existing open channel to the west of the property. This outlet design meets the county engineer's approval as a good and sufficient outlet for the basin. An existing 18-inch subsurface drain was discovered by the developer during construction of the retention basin that was not previously known to exist. This subsurface drain runs on the path as requested for improvement by the petition and is divergent from the open channel approved as the outlet for the retention basin. This subsurface drain was considered as a component. That's a mistake. This subsurface drain was not considered as a component of the approved engineering plans for the Clarkshaw Moores subdivision. The riser shown in Exhibit A was added to the subsurface drain during construction of the retention basin at the developer's discretion. The drainage system, as designed and constructed, appears to be functioning at the capacity required by the petitioner for their intended land use. Estimate of cost, factors favorable and unfavorable, benefit versus cost. ORC 6131 requires the county engineer to state in a report factors favorable and unfavorable to a proposed project, estimate the cost of the project, and state an opinion as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost. The following information is presented for your consideration. Construction estimate. The proposed project would include the following basic elements: storm tile installation, open channel reconstruction, and clearing and snagging. Construction, $52,518. Drainage maintenance, ORC 6137, fund initialization, 5% of the construction estimate, $2,626. Project administration, survey and engineering, 15% of the construction estimate, $7,878. Total project estimate, $63,022. Notes. It is important to understand that the above estimates are preliminary and made in the absence of a current detailed topographic survey of the project area. Should the project fail to be approved at the final hearing, the benefiting landowners, as defined by ORC 6131, may still be responsible for the cost of project administration, survey, and engineering design. Assessments. If the project moves forward to the second hearing, the Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate the assessments to individual property owners based on the benefits received from the improvements for the various properties in the watershed. ORC 6131 states, quote, uplands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other man-made causes shall be considered as benefited by an improvement required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands. Benefits are further defined by the ORC as, quote, elimination or reduction of damage from flood, removal of water conditions that jeopardize public health, safety, or welfare, and increased value of land resulting from the improvement. Individual parcel assessments are not calculated for the preliminary hearing and are only calculated if the petition moves forward to a second or final hearing. Factors favorable, unfavorable. Factors favorable to the improvement: improved surface and subsurface drainage in the watershed, additional outlet for retention and detention areas, reduction of future deterioration of surface and subsurface drainage infrastructure, annual inspections and maintenance of the improvement in perpetuity. Factors unfavorable to the improvement: temporary land use disruption during construction, cost of construction and maintenance may be a burden to some landowners, removal of existing trees and brush in the improvement area. Benefits versus cost. Assessments for property within the watershed are calculated based on the benefits derived. For this project, the outlet, as it currently exists for the petitioner's property, is sufficient and adequate for the land use intended by the petitioner. While improving the petition's subsurface drain would provide some degree of benefit, it is not necessary for the intended land use, and these benefits would not exceed the proposed cost of the project. Conclusions. Based on the information gathered, I believe the existing outlet for the Clarkshaw Morris subdivision to be sufficient and adequate as depicted in the approved engineering plans and as constructed. The connection to the subsurface drain added at the petitioner's discretion during site construction and requested to be improved by the petition is not necessary to meet the county standards and only serves to benefit the petitioner's property, not the watershed as a whole. I recommend this petition be dismissed based on the project not being necessary and the cost exceeding the benefit. However, the testimony brought to the board by the landowners as to whether the benefits exceed the cost should be given significant consideration. Should the current petition be approved to proceed to a final hearing, the petition bond will be returned and detailed plans, specifications, estimated costs, and a schedule of assessments would be prepared. Additionally, a benefits versus cost analysis will also be performed to further determine the feasibility of advancing this proposed project. If the board chooses to dismiss the petition, I would recommend the bond be used to pay the costs incurred by the county commissioners, the county engineer, and the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District in making preparations for the first hearing and the view, and that any amount remaining after those costs have been satisfied be returned to the petitioner.
With that, do we have any questions from the board?
Not right now. No.
We will now go to those who are in favor of the petition, and anyone who speaks from the podium will be sworn in. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the petition? One last time, is anyone here speaking in favor of the petition? Okay. Then we will hear from those who are opposed to the petition. I've just asked that we don't be redundant in our testimony. It's not necessary. So, is anyone here speaking in opposition? His hand went up first. So if you come to the podium, you would identify yourself, name and address, and I'll swear you in.
Bart Johnson, 8142 Concord Road. I'm also a Concord Township trustee.
Hi, Bart. Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed.
So I think with Bart's report, the Soil and Water is recommending that it not be, that this petition not be approved. When we approve this development, we have testimony from the developer that the improvements that would be made, which are required by the county engineer, would improve overall drainage in the area. I think this is a temporary structure, as Brett stated, that was discovered during construction. The temporary riser that's on the pond will be removed, in my understanding. Basically, the county goes out with a 1-year inspection, correct? That temporary structure will be removed at that time, so therefore alleviating, the inlet for that tile, off of that development. And then also with Brett's testimony that the only benefit to the watershed is to the petitioner itself, and there is no benefit to the surrounding landowners, of which Concord Township falls in that, since we do have road right away. So with that, I would, ask that this petition be denied.
Thank you, Mike. Yes.
It's my understanding that the developer actually did make an attempt to remove that temporary riser structure from the retention pond. Unfortunately, the water level was too high at the time they had their crews out to do that, and that they intend to do that at the earliest possibility.
Thank you. The gentleman here, I believe you had your hand up. You want to comment? Sure. That's fine.
My name is Jason Francis. I'm with MI Homes, one of the developers of the communities here, 3 East and Oval, Columbus, Ohio, 43219.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed.
This petition was filed by our engineers in conjunction with a petition on the adjacent project and in conjunction with discussions with the county engineer's office. And there was some confusion and maybe a little misunderstanding over this site's outlet, and it was mistakenly believed that it was necessary to extend the tiles downstream of the Clark-Shaw Morse project. Since that time, and in conjunction with the engineer's office, we have determined and reassessed the outlet as designed and as constructed, and determined that the proposed and as constructed design is appropriate and adequate. And I do not believe the petition that was filed needs to continue, and would support the termination of the process. I apologize for the misunderstanding, the confusion, and the concern raised to all of the residents within the petition area. Stick around to answer any questions you might have. Also, we'll stick around afterwards to answer any questions the residents might have. If the project were determined to be necessary and move forward, we would support and feel it would be appropriate to assess only the lots within the 2 development communities, Clark-Shaw Moores and Cider Ridge Crossing, and would be supportive of bearing the cost of construction on the lots within those communities, so that the residents outside those 2 communities wouldn't bear those costs, so if it is necessary to move forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay. I think with that information, do you have any questions or comments, Mr. Raymond?
No, well, I guess this is an unusual. Usually, I don't know, I've probably been through 15 of these or something like that. It's the first time we've seen something so clear-cut that the engineer and Soil and Water agree that it isn't necessary, and even the developer acknowledges that it doesn't need to go forward. So I intend to vote to dismiss it.
With that, just for the record, Mr. Hardman, who couldn't be here today, forwarded his thoughts, and they will be added to the record. I'm not going to bother to read it, and I'll just make sure it gets added to the record. He was in opposition as well. With that, I would entertain a motion to close the hearing.
And I will move that.
Resolution number 18-91, in the matter of closing the public hearing for consideration of the Clark-Shaw Drainage Improvement Petition filed by Clark-Shaw LLC and others, was moved by Commissioner Merrill, seconded by Commissioner Bitten. Vote on motion 18-91. Mr. Merrill?
Yes.
Mr. Bitten?
Aye.
With that, I would suggest that we read the resolution to dismiss the petition.
Yep.
Resolution number 18-92, in the matter of the Commissioners dismissing the Clark-Shaw Drainage Improvement Petition filed by Clark-Shaw LLC and others due to, what reason would you like me to state?
Based on the testimony you heard today, and that the cost of proposal improvements will be less than the benefit. Okay.
Cost exceeds the benefits of the project. The project is not necessary, or the project is not conducive to the public welfare.
So moved.
Second. Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-92. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Bitten?
Aye.
I also need to read resolution number 18-93. In the matter of approving the costs incurred by the county engineer in making preliminary reports for the Clark-Shaw Drainage Improvement Petition to be paid from the bond of the petitioners.
So moved.
Second. And it was recommended that those costs be passed on. I support that. So with that, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-93. Mr. Bitten?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. Thank you very much. I think we do have need for executive sessions, my understanding. So.
Resolution number 18-94. In the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of collective bargaining.
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Vote. Vote on motion 18-94. Mr. Bitten?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. We're now in executive session.
Yeah.
Resolution number 18-95. In the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second. Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-95. Mr. Bitten?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. If there is no other business to bring before us, we are adjourned.